In the quiet suburbs of Boise, Idaho, autumn had begun to settle in. The leaves on the trees had taken on a golden hue, and the mornings had started to carry a cool edge that hinted at winter's approach. On October 5th, 2002, the sun had not yet risen when a sequence of events began that would devastate a family, shatter the calm of a neighborhood, and lead to one of the most chilling capital cases the state had seen in decades. The Abdullah family's modest home sat on an unassuming street, a place where most people left their doors unlocked and knew their neighbors by name. But inside that home, tragedy was about to unfold in the most brutal and calculated way imaginable. Angie Abdullah was a well-liked woman, a devoted mother, and someone who was known for her warmth and reliability. Friends and neighbors recalled her as someone who rarely missed work and was always there for her children. She had been married to Azad Haji Abdullah, a man whose life story was complicated, marked by hardship, and, as would later be revealed in court, shadowed by troubling patterns of behavior. In the early hours of that October morning, Angie's life was violently cut short. And the crime would not only take her life, but put 3 children directly in the path of mortal danger. The events of that morning were pieced together later through forensic evidence, witness testimony, and the accounts of investigators. It began with the killing of Angie. The cause of death was determined to be suffocation. The method was both chilling and intimate, a plastic bag placed over her head until she could no longer breathe. Medical examiners concluded that she had been attacked in a way that left no chance for survival. But her death was not the end of the plan. Shortly after Angie was killed, a fire broke out in the home. Investigators would later testify that this blaze was deliberately set, designed to destroy evidence of the killing. But the fire was not just a cover-up. In setting it, 3 children inside the home were placed in immediate danger. The flames and smoke threatened to take their lives, and one child, an 18-month-old toddler, was placed outside in the backyard during the chaos. It was a detail that shocked even seasoned investigators, as the child could have easily perished from exposure or been caught in the fire if it spread further. In the moments after the fire began, neighbors noticed smoke rising from the Abdullah home. Emergency services were called, and firefighters rushed to the scene. They were able to contain the fire before it consumed the entire structure, but inside they found a horrifying scene. Angie was dead, the home was damaged, and the children had barely escaped the flames. The arson was not an accident, and soon the murder investigation began in earnest. At first, there was no public arrest. Detectives combed through the scene, recovering physical evidence, analyzing burn patterns, and taking statements from those who knew the family. It didn't take long before suspicion began to focus on Azad Haji Abdullah himself. His behavior after the crime drew attention, inconsistencies in his account, an absence of genuine grief, and the fact that he had the most to gain from Angie's death. Just 13 days later, Azad was arrested and charged with multiple crimes: first-degree murder for Angie's death, first-degree arson for the fire, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder for endangering the children, and felony injury to a child. Prosecutors were convinced they could prove not only that he had killed his wife, but that he had done so with clear, deliberate intent, and that he had attempted to take the lives of the children in the process. In the months that followed, the state prepared for trial. Azad's past began to come into sharper focus. He had been born into a life that was not easy, with early struggles that shaped his temperament and relationships. Over the years, there were signs of volatility, a controlling nature, and patterns of behavior that, according to prosecutors, hinted at what he was capable of. Although he did not have the lengthy, violent criminal record seen in some cases, what he did have was a mix of personal instability, emotional volatility, and, as the state would argue, a willingness to put his own needs above the lives of others. The trial began in the fall of 2004, Courtrooms have a way of stripping everything down to the essentials, and over the course of roughly 2 months, jurors were walked through the events of that October day piece by piece. Fire experts described how the blaze had started and spread, noting signs of an accelerant and deliberate ignition points. Medical testimony painted a grim picture of Angie's final moments. Witnesses testified about Azad's demeanor before and after the crime, and prosecutors laid out their theory that he had killed his wife, set the fire to cover it up, and in doing so had endangered the children's lives without hesitation. On November 19, 2004, the jury returned with a verdict. Azad Haji Abdullah was found guilty of first-degree murder, first-degree arson, 3 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and felony injury to a child. The verdict set the stage for the penalty phase, where the same jury would decide whether he should spend the rest of his life in prison or face execution. In the penalty phase, prosecutors presented aggravating factors they believed justified the death penalty. They argued that Azad had previously engaged in violent behavior, that this crime was especially heinous and cruel, that it had been committed during the course of other serious felonies, and that it was motivated by financial gain or personal benefit. The defense countered with mitigating factors, focusing heavily on Azad's mental and emotional state, suggesting he was under extreme disturbance at the time and that his ability to fully appreciate the criminality of his actions was impaired, but the jury was not persuaded. On November 24, 2004, the jury recommended death by an almost unanimous vote. 11 of the 12 jurors agreed it was the appropriate punishment. The judge formally sentenced Azad to death for the murder, with consecutive prison terms totaling 80 years for the other crimes. It was a crushing outcome for the defense and one that would launch a lengthy appeals process. As in most capital cases, the conviction and sentence were automatically reviewed by the Idaho Supreme Court. In its detailed opinion, the court upheld both the verdict and the punishment, finding that the evidence was more than sufficient and that the aggravating factors outweighed any mitigation. The court concluded that the crimes were proven beyond a reasonable doubt and that the death sentence was neither disproportionate nor unjust under Idaho law. But Azad did not stop there. Over the years, he pursued multiple avenues of appeal and post-conviction relief, alleging ineffective assistance of counsel, mishandling of evidence, and even claims that the state had withheld material that could have been used to impeach its lead investigator. These legal battles stretched on for years, with the Idaho Supreme Court issuing a nearly 190-page opinion in 2015 that again affirmed his convictions and sentence. In 2023, more than 2 decades after Angie's death, Azad filed a second successive petition for post-conviction relief, repeating his claim that the state had violated its obligations under the Brady, ruling by failing to disclose information that could have cast doubt on the credibility of a key investigator. The petition was summarily dismissed, and the Idaho Supreme Court affirmed that dismissal, ruling that even if the claim had some merit, it would not have changed the outcome of the trial. Today, Azad Haji Abdullah remains on Idaho's death row, housed at the Idaho Maximum Security Institution. He is one of a small number of inmates awaiting execution in a state where the death penalty is rare but still enforced. In the years since his conviction, Idaho has faced its own controversies over execution protocols, shortages of lethal injection drugs, and debates about alternative methods. But none of these broader issues have changed the fact that his sentence remains in place. The crime continues to haunt those who knew Angie. Her friends and family remember her as a caring mother, a dependable friend, and someone who deserved far better than the violent end she suffered. The fact that her children were also put in harm's way only deepens the tragedy. Those children survived, but they carry the memory of that night for the rest of their lives, a night when their home became a place of terror and loss. This case is not just about a single act of violence. It is about a sequence of choices that escalated from personal conflict to premeditated murder, from the taking of one life to the risking of others, and from a family dispute to a capital murder trial. It is about the way the justice system responds when a crime is not only deliberate but compounded by the calculated attempt to erase its traces. It is about the years of legal wrangling that follow such a verdict, the arguments about mental health, the scrutiny of investigative methods, and the slow, grinding pace of appeals that stretch on for decades. And it is about the lasting absence of one woman whose life was taken far too soon. Angie Abdullah's story ends not with a dramatic twist, but with a brutal fact that the person who should have been her partner in life became the one who ended it. The courts have spoken, the evidence has been weighed, and the sentence has been imposed. Whether it is ever carried out is a question that remains, but for now, her killer sits in a cell, his name a permanent fixture on Idaho's list of death row inmates. Even after so many years, the case of Azad Haji Abdullah still sparks conversation in legal circles. It raises questions about the balance between aggravating and mitigating factors, the role of mental health in capital sentencing, and the thin line between a domestic tragedy and a capital crime. But outside those circles, for the people of Boise who remember that autumn morning, it is simply the story of Angie's last day, and the fire that was meant to hide the truth, but instead revealed it in full.